Hello everyone, thank you for coming. And on behalf of myself and all of the other branch managers that have been selected for this opportunity to spearhead our venture expanding from the American to the Brazilian markets and making a name for ourselves on the international stage as a company, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity. Now, me and a couple of my peers have prepared this presentation to kind of outline what it is we are expecting from the Brazilian culture that we will be submerging ourselves into. We feel that this knowledge will be instrumental in our ability to successfully conduct business in the Brazilian market. So we've outlined a couple of key aspects that we have found in our research. We did this by looking up and familiarizing ourselves with Brazilian media. We conducted a couple interviews, did a lot of secondhand research, but without further ado, general overview. Now, the Brazilian culture is in many ways similar to American. It can be called similar in how individualistic they are. They hold very big sentiments of independence towards themselves with relation to the outside world, but where it differs is the other aspects that we have found. They're quite more relaxed than Americans are, where we are all go, 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 trying to get results now. We need things now, we need results now. Instead, Brazilians are much more relaxed. So when you're entering into like a meeting with a Brazilian, you can expect them to spend more time trying to have small talk. And this could be frustrating to some managers, especially when they feel like their schedule is very pressed for time. But we advise managers to just try and be a little bit relaxed. Now, if they get carried away, then it'd be understandable to kind of like rein them in. Just be like, hey, it's time to get to business. But other than that, letting the Brazilian like naturally end the conversation or the small talk themselves would probably be beneficial. They are also much more flamboyant. You'll most likely notice this when you enter into that small talk we were talking about. But while they are still extremely appearance-based in that they'll expect you to like look your best. For example, in our research, we found that office workers will oftentimes wear two-piece suits and upper executives will wear three-piece suits. You will be expected to do the same. And we advise that you do, to just kind of put our new business partners at ease, make them feel at home. They will be expecting you to be appearance-based. If not, and you walk in wearing like just a polo, maybe some slacks, and be like, who is this bozo? Who just walked into my office dressed in street clothes, right? Brazilian values. These are also extremely important. The biggest aspect in Brazilian values would be the personal relationships aspect. Not just familial, but also friendships, business relationships typically get the lines blurred between that and a friendship. In the Brazilian world, nepotism is extremely common, as you will most likely see, especially dealing with contractors or native Brazilian businesses. And this could be problematic for a couple of reasons. One especially is that if you offend one person and it turns out that they're like the nephew of whoever owns the business, that could be problematic. So showing respect by allowing friendships to foster between you and your customer could benefit not just you, but the company as a whole. Offensive behaviors. Now, Brazilians and Americans share several like polite gestures, as you could call them, like a thumbs up for to indicate affirmation, thumbs down for no or something went wrong. But one sign being this, the connecting of the pointer and the thumb, and then 3 fingers out. Typically in America, that would mean okay. To a Brazilian, that's their version of the middle finger. So try and stay away from throwing around like hand gestures until you've become absolutely certain from watching other, like the native partners that you have. If you see one of them do it and it is shown to be positive or a favorable behavior, then feel free to emulate that. But until then, try to avoid anything that you are not certain is polite. Other behaviors, not just defensive ones, but body language will be very important when interacting with Brazilian partners. They are extremely expressive through their body language. They'll talk with their hands a lot. They will get way up close in your personal space. This could make some of you feel uncomfortable. And if it is just absolutely unbearable, then by all means, please let the business partners know. But outside of that, only other main point I'd like to touch on is eye contact is extremely important. Make sure when you're speaking with a Brazilian that you maintain constant eye contact. Failure to do so can be seen as a sign of disrespect, as it's like, hey, I'm not at all interested in this conversation. The political landscape of Brazil is likely where we will face our biggest challenge. This is because corruption in Brazil is a rampant issue at the moment, but by bringing ourselves into Brazil being a multi-billion-dollar corporation as we are, we could institute change by observing workers' rights, right? If we go into this country and try to take advantage of the limited workers' rights regulations that they have, we would be contributing nothing. So instead, we advise our managers to observe workers' rights as they would if they were still in America. Don't try to push them longer than they should. Don't try to undercut pay, but at first, going in, that's going to be what the Brazilians expect. So if you go in and you show them like, hey, we're not here to operate in the way you're used to, we're here to operate like we are used to back at home, instituting those American values, we can help to avoid kind of bad air being brought around our company's name, help build us a reputation. It does not help that recently Brazil had a major scandal when the government-owned Petrobras company, a major petroleum company, came under heavy scrutiny. Several upper executives were arrested, several politicians were indicted, big money laundering scandal. But yeah, no, corruption, big issue. Now, product demand. Brazilians, as touched on earlier, have very flamboyant personalities. That is going to be something that is much different from what you're used to here in the United States. Here in the United States, some of our more popular colors such as charcoal, weatherwood shingles, speaking to just asphalt shingles right now, but charcoal, weatherwood, hearthstone, slate, those colors are going to probably be carried in extremely low stock, but you will be carrying a whole lot of midnight plum, Monaco red, more flashy type colors that will appeal to the consumers. You'll also be carrying high amounts of commercial products, a lot of TPO, a lot of metal roof materials, a lot of fasteners. So prepare your logistical chain for that. Get in touch with all of the necessary suppliers and shippers, because getting initially material down from our suppliers to our new Brazilian branches is going to be quite the hassle. Also, Brazilian market has a much higher demand for terracotta shingles, so pushing products like Ludovici is going to be much more aggressive, especially for higher income neighborhoods. Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to give this presentation before you, and I would now like to open the room to any questions.